Oh, yeah. We are in the peak age of humanity. We are in the age of 4K. Beautiful, slip-covered editions all around. Life is good. Now, as a society, we have all agreed that DVD just sucks. It's stupid. It's worthless. It deserves to be in the dumps. You know, sometimes people feel bad about throwing them away and they take it in the goodwill. Hey, that's on your conscience. I wouldn't want to have to, force some poor person into buying a DVD, though. But now we have the question of, should you still be buying Blu-rays in the modern era? Is it a good investment? Is it a good idea for a collector? And it's kind of a complicated question. Again, we're at an age where 90% of all 4Ks, at least at this time, have slipcovers. We know Warner Brothers is getting out of the slipcover game, and that's a shame. But they're not going to be relevant much longer. They're probably going to quit putting out physical media, and we're probably going to see the boutique labels put anything Warner Brothers worthwhile out that hasn't been released, with a slipcover, of course. But what do we do with these? What do we do with these relics of Blu-ray? Well, it's kind of complicated. It's kind of difficult. In my opinion, the Blu-ray format is out of date. It's irrelevant. And it's just not that great. 4K, 4K is a more collector format, where Blu-ray is kind of like the new, everyday man format. And once it becomes acceptable for, a 40-year-old dad to think it's, cool to have a Blu-ray, that's when it's no longer relevant. It's just like when, you had a dad that was so committed to, listening to, cassettes. And then he's just I'm finally going to get into CDs. And then you're like, well, CDs are done. I'm moving on to Spotify. It's that kind of deal with Blu-ray. And this is my take on it. What we should be doing with Blu-rays is we do need to respect the work that went into these proper slipcover editions. Now, if you have a box set like this, an incredibly rare Blu-ray box set, there isn't much you can do about it. You kind of you're stuck with those because that's part of the appeal. But when it comes to these movies with slipcovers, this Cleve Borker's, Lord of Illusions, has a great slip, a beautiful slipcover. But it's attached to this old garbage disc. And in my opinion, I think we're at a point where maybe we should all consider dumping our Blu-rays. Keep the slips, of course. There's value there. We don't have a good USA slip-covered edition of this movie. And there is a 4K coming, and if that has a slip, then yes, this is irrelevant. But until that happens, this is still a $200 slipcover. This Blu-ray, however, is practically worthless. There's no value to it. This movie, for example, if this 4K came with no slipcover, people wouldn't be talking about it. But because it has a slipcover, you complete the package, you put in that crusty old disc for a movie that nobody's going to watch. And it's worth hundreds. Like a lion here. This 4K is worthless. But the fact it has that slip, this is like a $500 slipcover. The Blu-ray had a slipcover. Do you know what that went for? Like $3, because nobody cared. And now it's worthless because there's a 4K slip. But that's the point. If 4K is the final format, then that means these are the final slipcovers. Or the final deluxe boxes, or the final deluxe box sets. There's not going to be a point carrying Blu-ray much longer, because everything that's worthwhile, everything that's worth money, anything that can be worth money, is going to get that 4K release. So we're kind of all just being chumps and hanging on to these old-timey garbage Blu-ray discs. This format came out in 2004. That's 20 years ago. It's time for us all to move on, dump it, just like you did your laser discs, your weird CD cartridge things, your VHS tapes, your beta tapes. Those all went in the trash. And I think it's time we do that for Blu-ray and just become all 4K investors. But that's my thoughts. Keep the slips, get rid of the discs, and go all in on 4K. So comment down below, guys. Do you agree with me? Are you going all in on 4K? And if not, why? Why would you make a foolish decision like that? And while you're at it, give the video a like and be sure to subscribe. But until next time, guys, keep slipping.